Hello, everybody. Happy Friday to everybody, and welcome to Cub Chat Live. We are joined today we've had some high-ranking guests on our show before. I don't know if we've ever had anyone this high-ranking. Michael Ramsey, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Aaron. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Michael and I have known each other for many years, worked alongside each other for many years. He is one of our senior vice presidents, I believe, and we are very, very fortunate to have him on the show today. Alexander says it's Friday. I agree, Alexander. It is Friday. We have called you all together today to talk about spring recruiting and marketing and the benefits of incorporating that into your spring Cub Scout pack schedule. But Michael, we'd be remiss if we didn't take a few minutes first to address the news of the day. It's been a fun morning at Scouting America. Your thoughts on the news of the day, and what do you think you could share with our viewers today?
Sure. Well, Aaron, hey, first of all, thanks for having me on. It's always fun to come talk to you and your audience. We talk about, hey, what are the ways to talk to the movement and the people that make scouting really hum, and it's this audience. So thank you all for joining here on a Friday afternoon already. It's been a busy news day. You may have seen news out of the Pentagon this morning, and I'll give you a little background on it. We heard rumblings, almost a year ago, a little over a year ago, that the Pentagon was considering cutting ties with scouting, I think. And it came out of an NBC story really middle of last year. We did a lot of work with scouting's congressional. I worked with our caucus in DC, reached out to those folks. They reached out back channel, and we were assured that pay no attention. Well, so we heard another rumor about the year, and then you may have seen a news story in late November, right before Thanksgiving. Some leaked documents by NPR came out, kind of around the same thing. And then we ended up in a meeting in the Pentagon in early January. It turns out that there was some discussion from the Pentagon about cutting ties with scouting. What does that mean? Well, we have scouts on military bases around the world. So that receive military funding from the military to support scout troops and packs, bases and around bases around the world, which is fantastic for our military families, who are scattered across the world or deployed, and scouting is a little bit of America when you're far away. Certainly the military supports national jamborees, things like that. So there's lots of benefits to scouting for the military. We have been working with the military now off and on for quite some time to work on our relationship. And so today it was announced that we have agreed to an MOU with the military that allows us to continue to support military families on bases around the world. They'll continue to work with us on supporting the National Scout Jamborees, funding and things like that. We've also, we told the military, we value our military families so much that we'll waive fees of military family active duty and Guard and Reserve folks. That's active duty, beginning later this year. Really excited about that because we really want to honor those who've chosen to serve our country. It's really important. And for some time, we have been working on a military service and veterans merit badge for Scouts BSA AHU. That had been in the works as well as the assistance program even last year. So we've thrown that into the mix. That news came out today. In addition to that, because we receive federal funding and federal dollars, we're subject to something called the Executive Order 14173. We're going to have to make some programmatic changes on that related to DEI and some things like that. Almost all of those are related to the Scouts BSA program. So that news hit today. Some people were excited. Some people are concerned that there was a tweet that came out of the Pentagon a few weeks ago that if you heard it, you may have wondered if we were being asked to kick out girls or kick out people from scouting, which is absolutely not true. Nobody's getting kicked out of scouting. Nothing like that is happening. This is about strengthening a 116-year-old relationship with our military so we can continue to support military families and provide stability for them as they serve our country. So there's some other changes too that I won't get into here, but I did want to share that with you, Aaron, and kind of let you know what's going on in case you've seen kinds of things spin up on the news today, because there's been a lot of it. But I can tell you that scouting's values aren't changing. Our commitment to the Scout Oath and Scout Law stands firm. And certainly not making sorts of using things. So we'll make sure she might be.
Yeah, thank you for that, Michael. To me, the best news is that we're going to be able to continue to serve families on military bases. That's what a huge support that is, and what an honor it is to be able to support those families We've talked about this before, families who have maybe moved overseas or kids are in unfamiliar areas and they can join Cub Scout packs on their military base. Well, what a huge, huge service. And it is an honor that we continue to do that. Alex, in Cub Scouts really doesn't affect the Cub Scout program too much. I don't think, Michael, like you said, there's a new merit badge for Scouts PSA, but Cub Scout families, I think the message is keep doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, there's some details to the MOU that we are working through with the Pentagon. One of the positive things in long term is that there's going to be a liaison, which we've never had between the military, and Scouting America. And so we think about the long-term opportunities with, what else can we do with military families and provide service to them as well. So we're actually excited about some of those things. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities in here, but absolutely right. I mean, I was talking to Mark Francis, who's the wonderful Scout executive of the Far Council. You may or may not know, we have scouting units in 18 different Asian nations across the Pacific. And again, scouting is a little piece of America for those families that are scattered across the world. Same for the Transatlantic Council. There's tremendous programs that run in Transatlantic, certainly for military families, but also for expats and business people that are scattered around the world. So those are incredibly important programs to us. And certainly then there's the national jamborees. If you've ever been to a jamboree and seen military support of the jamborees, I mean, listen, it's terrific. So, they bring the boats and the tanks and the military equipment and have a good time. Scouts love it. And, many scouts go on to careers in the military. They trade the uniforms that they wear for the militaries of our heroes, our military heroes. So you'll see more details about fee waivers and those going forward. I mean, this announcement happened today, so this is a fast-moving train. So people may want a lot of details really quick, but we're working to pull some of those things together, and we'll get them out just as. Awesome. Thanks for having us. It is been a busy news day. It's been pretty interesting, but
exactly, and we know you're great. Yeah, I mean, we know you're busy, Michael. So thank you for joining us. We are going to start talking about now why we came here originally, spring recruiting and marketing. Real quick, shout out to Rich from Pack 151 in Scottsdale, Pennsylvania. Good to see you, Rich. Rusty is here from Pack 84 in New Philadelphia, Ohio. Live Love Scouting. Always good to see them log on to watch us on YouTube. Alex, good to see you. Rob says they had a great Friends of Scouting dinner last night. I heard about that, Rob. I heard it was eventful. Tamara, always good to see you on here. Let's see who else. Yeah, Tamara, Christopher, Paul, good to see you, Paul. Dennis, Mark, everybody, thank you all for joining in today. Michael, let's talk about spring recruiting. I think that most packs, that school night for scouting that we have in the fall, that's been around way back, even back when I was a Cub Master, back when you were a Cub Master, you probably had a school night for scouting right when elementary school gets back into session. Spring recruiting might be something that not a lot of our packs are familiar with, but there's no rule that says you can only recruit in the fall, right?
Why not? I mean, it's a great time. I mean, listen, as a parent, as I always joke, a recovering Cub Master and den leader. By the way, being a Cub Master is the best job in the world. I absolutely love it. We love spring recruitment because there's some day camps coming up. There's all kinds of opportunities. And by the way, mom and dad are thinking about, hey, school's going to be out. What are some things that I can do to get them off the couch and get them off of these, and so we don't have summer learning loss, I think, as they call it. How do we keep them engaged and active? Cub Scouting is an absolutely fantastic way to do that. Absolutely. And by the way, you should subscribe to Scout Life magazine too, so you can actually, again, get off these and actually read something. Yep.
Subscribe to Scout Life magazine for sure. You and your kids will love it. A lot of our Scout Life readers, we've learned, are parents who read Scout Life magazine because it is so good. So the National Council does provide some support for marketing materials and things like that would allow Cub Scout leaders to promote their packs within their communities. Even though we are a national level, we do provide materials for local units. Michael, maybe you could talk about that a little bit, the brand center and things like that. Yeah,
absolutely. Listen, if you haven't found the brand center, go out and search for Scouting America Brand Center on Google or from wherever you're on, and you'll find a link to the brand center. That's where we put all of our marketing assets and resources, videos and logos. And I was actually on the site last night. There are actually Cub Scouting bookmarks if you wanted to run through your printer, print your pack name on the back, which you can drop a QR code on it if you want. I mean, there's all kinds of really cool tools and assets. I'd brace yourself. There's a lot there. You could spend a lot of time looking at all the cool stuff from videos. I mean, if you're looking for photography to drop on something, it's all there. By the way, it's all free. You can log in, download the assets and materials. Pro tip, if you go onto the site, you can actually log onto the site, and there's more than what we actually share on the front page. So if you're looking for additional photo assets and things like that, take the time to log into the site, and we can get more than what you said in the surface. But yeah, it's a terrific tool, and also the way to kind of shop for ideas of things that other people have done. A lot of things that are on the site, lots and lots and lots of Cub Scout recruitment materials that show boys and girls and all kinds of great assets and resources related to the outdoors. But you also see things that we put up there that a unit may have called and said, "Hey, I made this great postcard or bookmarks, or actually something that came from the field." We get those and go, "Oh, it is cool." We clean it up and post it on the site. So it's a really fun, cool resource just for shopping for ideas.
Absolutely. Shout out to our friend Amy, who in our office maintains the Grand Center and does a great job with that. Yes, doing the Lord's work. Alex points out, I think that spring is the best time to recruit because camp is right around the corner. Alex, we were going to talk about this later, but since you brought it up, I think we should talk about it now. Yeah, spring is a great sort of springboard into summer camp or any whatever summer season you do. Maybe you could talk about that real quick, Michael. If you do recruit some new members in April and May, the importance of giving them something to do in June, July. Summer camp is one option, but it's not the only option. Your thoughts, Michael?
Absolutely. Oh, listen, again, we always, man, summertime's great. You get outside, you get to run around. We did everything from park cleanups, it's a little bit of a service project, to, hey, it's the pizza party, right? We would go to the pavilion at the local park. We would do, sometimes we do stand parties. They join, and the risk is that, and listen, we've all been there, right? It's May, school's about to be out, and you've been doing Cub Scouting all year long. Everybody kind of hits a deep breath, and sometimes you don't get back to it until it's time for school to start. Our strategy was always, hey, let's do something once a month. And again, maybe it's a pool party, maybe it's a pizza party, or whatever, some way to keep them involved in the program. Maybe it's a hike early in the morning and text you before it gets hot, right? Get out and do something, pick up some trash, have a good time. And so everybody, so you don't lose them during the summer. Provide some fun to provide. And certainly, if there's a Cub camp or a resident camp, something like that, certainly take advantage of those things. But yeah, I think staying engaged in the summer is a great way. And hey, I think you can be creative. Look for things outdoors. Again, I need to get off of these and get outside, and we'll meet you at the park, and we're gonna do something. I got a rainbow regatta if you've still got one of those laying around. I mean, get outside.
Yeah. When we talk about summer activities, I do want to make it clear we're not saying that you have to meet every week or something like that. People are traveling, people are on vacation. Your Cub Master, your den leaders are probably going to be traveling on vacation. Set up a play date at the park, maybe a water park, something like that, a swimming event, something like that. All kinds of options. Just one event per month is kind of what we suggest to keep kids engaged and really build up that momentum going into fall.
Hey, 4th of July is coming up. I mean, is there a parade to march in as a pack, right? I mean, there's got to be, all kinds of, maybe it's Christmas in July. I don't know. You can be creative with it. I mean, Cub Scouts all about family fun and friends, right? You can always come up with something fun to do. Assign somebody to bring the cups and somebody to bring the whatever it is, and part of it. By the way, we're also an America 250 partner. Scouting America is. So it's a great opportunity to go out and find something to do to give back to the community. Again, whether it's a cleanup or something like that, I would absolutely.
Yeah, and we've mentioned this before. Cub Scout leaders, when they get into the summer, you might be thinking you could use a break from all this. We get it. I remember, Michael, when I was a Cub Master, I had a dad come up to me, and our community was having a 4th of July parade, and they asked if we could participate. And I said, well, unfortunately, I was going to be traveling on vacation with my family that week. Would you mind leading it? And guess what? He said, absolutely. And it went off fine. I kind of shared our parade safety rules, got them registered and everything like that. They had a great time. I saw the photos. It was amazing. So yeah, don't feel like if you're the Cub Master or the den leader, that you have to do all that yourself, feel free to recruit another parent who's around to do something like that. Most likely you have someone who's available and willing to do that for you. Mark, I want to bring that to attention. Mark's post. We host an ice cream social open house the last Thursday night before the end of the school year. Mark, thank you for bringing that up. That brings me to another question for you, Michael. We're all sort of conditioned to these recruiting events that we have in the fall. You can host a recruiting event in the spring should you choose to. But I think what a lot of PACs have success with is things like an ice cream social, things like that are open. Michael, maybe you could talk about that. We sort of call that maybe passive recruiting, right? Where you just host an event that's open to the community, open to other families in your neighborhood. Lo and behold, if they ask about joining, that's great.
Absolutely right. Listen, I mean, nobody likes to be sold, right? I don't think we do that with Cub Scouts. But hey, if it's come down, visit, have a good time. Again, it's family, fun, and friends. You're really joining a community of people who care about their kids and want to do something fun together. Absolutely, an ice cream social, pizza party. I don't know. Seriously, I mean, maybe you drag the Pinewood Derby track out and do something fun with that. Absolutely, I think it doesn't always have to be there's a flyer and come down and Pastor Michael would make his speech at the front of the room. Boring, right? Do something fun. And again, I would find a way to make it fun, make it Cub Scouty. And here's another note too. I think one of the things that we see sometimes in our when we do surveys of people who unfortunately have left Cub Scouting, or scouting in general, they may not have felt welcome sometimes, which means that you may have all seen it. You go to a meeting and the people that know each other are already in the corner, and maybe you forget to go reach out and say hi to that new person. I'd be very intentional, extending your hand and saying, "Hey, welcome to Cub Scouting. We're so glad you're here. This is going to be great." And by the way, I love the ideas that you said, Aaron. Don't make them pat treasure at the first meeting. Give them something fun to do. Hey, can you bring orange slices to the next meeting? And see if they're interested in stepping up to a leadership opportunity. So that's, bring them in, make sure they feel welcomed, communicate with them, let them know when the next meeting is. It's absolutely a community of people that care about kids, and we should welcome them.
Yep, absolutely. Alexander points out that by participating in a couple of activities over the summer, you get the Summertime Adventure Award. Very cool. Jim says they do a bike rodeo. That sounds like a great idea. Yeah. Let's get a little bit more into that, maybe, Michael. I think that our philosophy as an organization over the last 20 years about recruiting new members has changed a little bit for the better. I remember, again, it's a long time ago, Michael, but I remember being taught this very, very aggressive pitch to get people to join. And I think we've learned that doesn't really always work. What you end up with is some parents who feel kind of pressured and that, they maybe didn't really want to join. It's much better just to sort of tell them what you do, right? Just sort of go over, here's what we do in Cub Scouts. I wonder your thoughts on how we
do. And there was a study that was done years ago. I think it was in Florida, and it was, they actually worked with a college group, and they visited joint scouting night meetings. Now, this is not a summer thing. This is joint scouting night. And one of the feedback from people that came to our joint scouting night meetings, and they would see us in our uniforms with all of our knots, and the uplets and the whole thing. And their impression was, it's a little bit intimidating because, it could be an intimidating if you don't know what it is, And then the other impression was, wow, a lot of people work here. Well, okay, wait.
Yep.
We're all volunteer leaders. We're all somebody's dad or mom, right? So I think you're right. I think making sure that it's friendly and it comes across in the right way. That study actually said, it shouldn't say master on the, it's a Michael, right? So, so they know that this is a group of, right? And it's much more welcoming. But yeah, wear a golf shirt, wear that Cub Scout shirt if you've got it from Outfitters. And expect that they feel welcome. But yeah, I think there's a way to welcome people into a small community, which is what my Cub Scout path was. Greatest parents in the world.
All right, absolutely. Shout out to Andrea. We talked earlier about the Transatlantic Council. Andrea from Troop 164, Simbach. Michael, do you know where Simbach? You know what that is?
I don't, but I'm gonna go Google it after this.
Andrea, tell us I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but Andrea, tell us where that is. So glad that you found us today. Andrea is watching on YouTube. By the way, we are live on YouTube in addition to Facebook. And we are also a podcast. For all of you who don't know that, you can always go back and listen to this on your jog, during your workout, on your commute to school, to whatever it is. We appreciate you all joining us. Yeah, Michael. So again, the topic of today's show, spring recruiting and marketing. Let's talk about social media a little bit, if we could, Michael. Social media is ironically not something that I was always comfortable with when I was a Cub Scout leader. It was weird posting about our Cub Scout pack, things like that. There are some folks who fully embrace social media. What have we learned about best practices and things that are good to post and share on social media when it comes to marketing your pack in your community?
Yeah, well, that's a really great question, and yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of aspects we can talk about. First of all, I think social media is a great way to build awareness of your pack and what's going on in scouting in your community. And every time I make a presentation about social media, someone raises their hand and they make the very insightful comment that, you can't market to kids on social media. Yes, you're absolutely right. We're talking to parents. We want to make sure they're aware of the cool, fun things that Cub Scouts get to do in the program, and invite them to come down and be part of the adventure. So I think it's definitely okay to post the cool pictures of your rocket derby or the Pinewood derby or whatever you're doing. We are always very careful. Like I tell people every chance to get an opportunity, definitely let families know if you're going to take a picture of Cub Scouts and put them on your social media channels. Again, been doing this for years. And yes, maybe they've signed a photo release as part of their application to join scouting. But sometimes there's situations where parents, for whatever reason, they just don't need to be found. They don't want their picture. Scout is courteous. I would just ask, hey, I'm going to post this on our Facebook feed. Is that okay? Or Instagram or whatever you're doing. I would definitely let them know because there may be a very good reason for you. But, our experience over the past 2 years of doing outbound social media marketing on Instagram, Facebook, certainly, and TikTok, is that it's very effective in building awareness because these platforms are very good at understanding what we like, what we watch, what we tune into, and quite frankly, it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing tool. I would definitely use it to build awareness and interest. We used it. Some of you may remember several years ago we were promoting something called geofencing. If you've got an organizational page for your Cub Scout pack, you can actually set an event. And then if you put $1 or $2 behind it, it will let you reach a large audience and let them know that joint scouting night's happening, at the school. Powerful. I would definitely use it. But again, I wouldn't go in assuming that you're talking to a child because you're not. Should
Right. There's another thing I think also, Michael, that we have to be careful about assuming. Before I ask you about that, I want to say Andrea is in Kaiserslautern. I'm saying that wrong. Germany, though. Andrea is in Germany, and Rich says, Guten Tag, Andrea. Thank you for watching. I wonder what time it is there. Andrea, you up in the middle of the night? I don't know. Thanks for joining us, though. Very cool. Hey, another thing that we've learned, Michael, over the years is that a lot of the parents that we talk to now that we recruit do not have a background in scouting. They were scouts themselves. So they don't know things that we often take for granted. What's a pack? What's a den? What is Philmont? What's an Eagle Scout? I wonder if you could talk about best ways to communicate with young parents these days who do not have a background in scouting, but they're interested in learning more.
Aaron, I love that. In fact, you're the best audience in radio. This group probably knows we have something called the language of scouting.
Right.
Which actually started off as a tool that our publishing departments used here years ago that defined, what is an event. And, it's like 88 pages. It's like single spaced, 8-point type. It's a very dense volume. But what it is, it's jargon if you look at it. And I did a focus group several years ago, Aaron, that we were talking to parents who were not Cub Scout parents. We wanted to get their impressions of the program. And what many of them said, one mom pulled me aside later and she said, even when you use terms like at that time it was BSA, and said, if you don't know what BSA is, that's jargon. We don't know what that stands for. So it's a great point. Again, it's kind of like showing up with our uniforms and all of our stuff and talking about the pack and the committee. So it could be a little intimidating, right? To welcome people into our amazing organization. I would be careful with that kind of stuff, just so you don't hit them over the head with things that they don't know what it means, and maybe too embarrassed to ask.
Right.
let them down easy, bring them in, and then, then you can bring them up to speed on what that stuff looks like. But it's a great point.
Right. Yeah. I think one of the best ways to recruit Cub Scout families is by just telling them what you do as a Cub Scout pack. Just do the things you do: camping, fishing, bike riding, hiking, whatever it is, service. Just tell them what you do. That's the best recruiting tool.
100%. And to that point, Eric, we talk to families a lot about what this is like developing recruitment flyers. And we would do things like we bring in, kids and their parents, and we show them various mock-ups of different kinds of flyers. This won't surprise you at all, but every kid, boy or girl, they all want to go fishing. This is getting out, but for the vast majority, they want to go fishing, they want to run beach s'mores, they want to have a campfire, they want to go camping. Listen, I think you're absolutely right. We talk about the cool things that Cub Scouts get to do, maybe other kids don't get to do. It's a great conversation to have about, hey, you join now, we get the fall camp read coming up, we're doing it at Lake Fiji meeting.
Very cool. Very cool. We are winding down our discussion with Michael Ramsey about spring recruiting and marketing. A few more quick shout outs. Elf 77 from Pack 506 in Huntington Beach, California. Mark from Valley Forge, Pack 81. Good to see you. Fear the Spear 305 says Instagram has been an incredible tool, and their host city repost everything we do. Shout out to the city of Homestead for supporting that pack. That's very, very cool. One of the many advantages of having a healthy relationship with your local community is they can, not even on purpose, they can help you promote your pack by sharing stuff on their social media channels. Michael, this has been an excellent discussion as we wrap things up today. Again, any final thoughts on spring recruiting and marketing? Again, we're not asking everyone to have a whole nother recruiting event, although you can do that if you want to. Just sort of bring it to people's attention. Hey, spring is a good time to add new members. Michael, any final thoughts before we let you go?
Well, like I said earlier, I think spring is a great time because I know that I always did, you're always thinking, hey, what are my kids going to do this summer? Hey, sign them up for Cub Scouts. It's a terrific time to get involved in Cub Scouts and do the fun things that we do throughout the summer. And, I know as a unit leader, council's busy. My district executive was always busy. I didn't wait for them to come by and say, hey, you gotta do a recruitment event. We just did it. And sometimes it was raising the flag in front of the school or something like that. It just provided visibility because that's so very important. I think it's up to us to grow our own units. That's what we always did. And you all can do it too. And summertime is great. So
Yep. Really, it's almost a two-step process. Invite new folks to join in the spring, and then do 2 or 3 activities during the summer to keep them engaged. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be earning adventures or electives or anything like that. Just do something fun. Really build up that momentum in the fall when you have your school night for scouting or whatever it might be. And then you're off and running, Michael. And then it's just 1 hour a week after that. So
it's just not
exactly. Thanks again, everybody.
And it's the best hour of the week.
It is 100% right. Well, the best 30 minutes of the week is right here during Cub Chat Live. Alex says have an elevator pitch for around 5 minutes. Agree. That sounds like a good idea. Just sort of have your pitch ready to go. I want to say thank you to everyone in the comments, by the way, and I mean everyone. Thank you all for commenting and sharing your opinions for the day. Michael, we're going to let you go. Again, any final thoughts? You want to comment anything else on the news of the day? Anything else you would like to share with our viewers?
No, nothing else to say. I mean, this has been a fast-moving train, and I'll just say, keep watching official announcements from Scouting America. You may see all kinds of things from different sides. I would listen to what's coming out from Scouting America, and not listen to both sides of the political equations that are going on that we have to deal with these days. But listen, Scouting stood by our Scout Earth and Scout Law, and we continue to do so. So thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Absolutely. For those of you who missed it, Stephen says, asking if we're going to comment. Go back, Stephen. We addressed it at the very beginning of our show today. You can all go back to the beginning when we're done here and watch that. Thank you all for watching. And again, thank you all for commenting. We do appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend. Michael, thanks for your time today. I know you're busy. We'll see you all later. Bye,
Sounds
everybody.
good. Thanks, everybody. Bye, Aaron.
Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure to catch next week's episode, same time, same place. And let us know how we're doing at go.scoutingmagazine.org/rate Cub Chat. We love feedback and ideas for new episodes. And you can visit blog.scoutingmagazine.org/CubChatLive for all our past episodes. You can see us live, except it's recorded, but it was live. Okay, see you next week.